We are in between the Union lines and the Confederate lines of 1864. I have a friend from Canada who came down to visit, and his bucket list is he wants to find one Civil War bullet. This is not the easiest hunting, but behind me stood the Union trench lines. Behind you were the Confederate lines. Here I am in the middle. This is the dead zone. And in 1864, on the second day of June, the Union forces left their trenches and attacked. As one Confederate general said, that was not war, that was murder. So this is my buddy Bob from Canada. Furthest guy I've ever known to come relic hunt. He's getting used to the sound of Civil War targets. Modern.
Casing.
Another one. Yeah, that's heavy. That's a lead slug, but it is modern. All right, Bob's right over there, up under those holly trees, trying to find something. Hey, Bob, come here and listen. I got a good signal right here, and I'm gonna let Bob check it out after I move my junk. I'm pretty sure that's a Civil War bullet. Uh-oh. Look right there. Pull it out of there.
I wouldn't know the difference between anything.
That's just a 3-ringer that was fired and impacted, but there's our first Civil War bullet of the day. Nothing wrong with that. It's still very early. Now we got to get Bob to find his first. There's a modern slug laying right beside a Civil War 3-ringer. Another modern slug. I'm gonna have to get out of these. Daggone it, look at that little sucker. Another modern slug. I haven't seen old Bob for a little while. Well, I've lost the Canadian. But I've got a signal in the front wall of this trench. It's a whisper. It's kind of cool because it is Civil War. That's a little bit of percussion cap. I don't know whether you can see that or not, but some beautiful, beautiful Confederate earthworks right there. That is a leather rivet from like a belt or a cartridge box. Okay, there's more down there in the bottom. Pretty cool in that it does have leather still on it from the Civil War. All right, I'm in the same spot in this Confederate trench here. I got a signal here. I've put you right on top of the trench for a bird's eye view. Oh yeah, there it is, and it is a Civil War bullet. All right, there you go. It is fired by a Yankee firing on these Confederate trenches, and it landed here in 1864 and been sitting there ever since. I'm on the battle side of the trench, not the safe side, but the side the attackers would have been coming in on. Okay, so we have another Civil War percussion cap. Didn't explode and split apart like they often do. Another percussion cap. I'm down in the bottom where the Union troops would have been charging toward the trench from. All right, we're getting closer. I think I feel it. Let me see if I can give you a view. Doesn't want to come out, whatever it is. Is that just a smashed bullet in wood? We'll put it in the pill bottle to keep it from getting messed up, and we'll wash it off in a minute. The Canadian emerges from the deep woods. So let's see what he's got. Oh yeah, that's exactly what you find. That's probably Confederate. And that's the way you find them. Let me guess. Down there somewhere.
In the swamp.
Yep, that's a Confederate Gardner. Rough shape, but a good find. All right, definitely a Civil War bullet there. So Bob's got a Sharps carbine and a Gardner. Number 3. That turkey's finding more than I am. Oh, definitely a Civil War bullet, without a doubt. I don't know that you'll ever figure out what that is. But dude, you've made your bucket list 4 times today. I'm so happy. You can leave now. It looked like when we pulled in that there was some low ground that had been cleared. I wouldn't mind going over there. Look at the size of that pine tree that grew in the top of this trench. Okay, right there. Wait a minute, is that it? Oh yeah. Oh, look at that. That's a Gardner. I don't know whether that bullet tumbled in flight and hit back first and that's why it looks like that, or whether maybe the powder swelled over time and caused that lead to corrode and expand. I don't know. Okay, I'm still in the trench line. All right, something right there. That looks like a bullet. Yes, sir. There is a nice little 3-ringer. This is just about 12 inches from where I found that 3-ringer. Little teeny piece of lead, and I'm still getting a really good signal. Oh. Check it out. That's a beautiful Gardner, and 12 inches from that 3-ringer. I found the 3-ringer right there, found the Gardner right there, and now I'm getting weaker signals in between the two. Oh yeah, we're plenty close. Holy moly, this is crazy. That's an infield. Right here together. I've gotten 3 different varieties of bullets. A London-made infield, a Confederate Gardner, and then I have a 3-ringer. That's still got the boxwood plug in the back, I think. What do we got here? Miller High Life. 9mm. Doggone it. Just underneath this blanket of leaves, it's just swampy down here. Yeah, it's a bullet. That's a hard impact bullet for sure. Did it hit a soldier or did it hit a tree? We are smack dab between the Union and Confederate lines on a Cold Harbor permission. So I just pulled a bullet out of this hole and I'm getting another signal right there. Something right about there. Is that another bullet? What is that? Yeah, that's another bullet, I think. Looks like a ball of mud, doesn't it? A little bit of muddy water out of the bottom, and presto. We got a, oh, that's a cleaner with the plunger missing. Well, folks, I covered that hole up too quick. There's another bullet down there. That's not a root, that's a tree. Alright, I'm getting close. There it is. Believe it or not, that's a Civil War bullet. That looks like it could be an infield. Alright, this is a Civil War bullet and you can hang your hat on that. She deep. That's a Civil War bullet. Alright, I can hear it with the pinpointer. And there it is. Boy, that's another highly impacted bullet. Got one in the creek here. Alright, let's get wet. Oh man. Alright, in here somewhere. Is it? Oh shoot. I dropped it. That is what's left of a Civil War bullet. I think while I'm here, I'm going to wash off those other things that I found. So there you go. There's my down in the swamp bullets. Creek is right here. I'm down here right in the bottom. Yeah, it's very deep. Yeah, another Civil War bullet. I'm just rinsing it. Oh yeah, look at that. That looks like a dropped 3-ringer. Come on, baby. Come on out of there. Whew. Well, I'm up to my shoulder. And I think that's a Civil War bullet. That's a bullet. But my goodness, they're mangled. It just testifies to the ferocity of the fighting. See if she's still in there. All right, there he is. All right, we're going about 15 more minutes, and then my Canadian buddy has got to hit the road. Oh, there it is. All right, there you go. Right in the bank of the creek here. When we started today, you had never found a Civil War bullet in your life.
Not one.
So bucket list times 6, nobody can complain about that. So Bob came up with 6. I got a good little handful of bullets, and between the two of us, we have Sharp's carbine, we have 3-ringers, we have Gardners, we have Enfields. All in all, I'd say that's not a bad day. What do you think?
You bet.
Not a bad day. I'm really glad you joined me today, and let me just say, Bob, if you're watching, I'm really glad you were able to check that one item off your bucket list, a Civil War bullet. Commenting on a recent video, SWLC5555 was commenting that probably with significant items from my collection, it was probably easy to remember where I found them and under what circumstances. Well, that's certainly true, and I want to tell you about one that I was reminded of during this hunt with Bob. I hadn't hunted this spot for probably 7, 8 years, maybe even longer. But this spot on the very top of this beautiful Confederate trench, years and years ago, I found one of the prettiest U.S. buckles I've ever found. It's kind of a funny story because at this spot there was a log, probably that big around, that had fallen across the trench. And for as long as I can remember, my buddy, my digging buddy, David, and we always sat on that log and ate our lunch. Well, one day I hadn't done really well. I'd found a few bullets and a handful of percussion caps, but I hadn't done really well. I just thought, that log is one spot I've never been able to relic hunt under. I rolled the log out of the way, and as I remember, it took quite a bit to do it. I'm telling you, folks, I got just a mouse whisper of a signal. It was barely audible. I began to dig, and as I dug and got deeper and deeper, I started widening the hole until I was a foot down. It wasn't a whisper anymore. It was a screaming signal. I dug about another 6 to 8 inches, and at about 1.5 feet, I encountered a beautiful green rim of a plate. I called David over. He took a look in the hole, and as you can see, he was excited about it. It was a U.S. buckle, that much we could see, and it was in beautiful condition. I borrowed David's bayonet, and I started working my way around the buckle, thinking perhaps that there was some leather left. There wasn't. And I just took my time excavating the buckle. And some people will say, why didn't you just hurry up and get the job done? Well, there's a reason for that. Finds like this don't happen every day. And I just wanted to slowly excavate that plate and take my time, savor every minute of removing that plate. Also thinking about the fact that where that plate was resting, it had been there in that same position since 1864. I finally pulled the buckle out and was so thrilled to see that it was in almost absolutely perfect shape. It was sitting in beautiful Cold Harbor sand. You could easily read W.H. Smith, Brooklyn, New York, on the back of the buckle. It was such a thrill to see a plate come out of the ground that pretty. As you can see from my little picture of what I found that day, had it not been for that buckle, it would have been a forgettable day. But that buckle made it a day that I remember. And I found it right on the very top of this very trench at this very spot. So yeah, when you find something significant, it's easy to remember where it came from. If you're a relic hunter, keep swinging that coil. Every now and then, you stumble upon something that's still there all these years later. I'm the Battlefield Walker. Be good and say your prayers.